Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Wolf, and today it's time we tackle the age-old question: is Guild Wars 2 still worth playing? And I'm gonna do this in a bit of a different way to everyone else. They all give you the ultra fancy, over-edited versions and all this sort of stuff, but I'm going to just tell you the truth, straight off. No bullshit, from the mouth of someone who literally came back last year, this year, couple months ago. Yeah, the thing about Guild Wars 2 is you can start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, and you don't miss anything. And that is by far one of the best parts. Guild Wars 2 isn't worth it in 2025, it's worth it as a game in your roster, period. Because the great part about Guild Wars 2, that I'm sure you've had rammed down your throat by this point, is the horizontal gear progression. This basically makes it so, since they're not adding anything new, that you can stop playing for however many months and then come back and pick it up again immediately. But to add to this, they've basically built their systems in a way that you can play the game pretty much however you want. Guild Wars 2 is like what I envisioned every other MMO to actually be if they worked correctly and delivered on half their promises. So, to prove my point, I'm going to sit here and fish and talk about my favorite game. So, of course, I'm going to say yes, it's worth playing because, you know, I'm a Guild Wars 2 YouTuber, so there's a little slight bias in there, but I'll give you the reasons behind why I think that's the case. So, what we're going to be doing is just chilling and fishing. So, I have an item booster up for 20 minutes. This is going to give me a increased chance for an extra gathering strike. And when I use my fishing rod here on the little fishing pool in front of me, that will count as a gathering pool. So there's a chance I can hit extra gathering nodes and whatnot. And yeah, this is what I do when I'm particularly bored or just looking to chill out in Guild Wars 2. It's one of my personal favorite activities. And Guild Wars 2 quite literally ripped the fishing system straight out of Stardew Valley, and I'm very grateful for it. The thing about Guild Wars 2 is they copy certain mechanics, but it seems like they get to it late, so that they have the ability to shop around and pick the best version of every single mechanic. So when it comes to mounts, they did mounts exceptionally well, rather than just having them be a static movement speed increase, to the point that it's ruined most mounts in other games, and World of Warcraft retroactively stole it back, and then did it pretty poorly with the new flying mounts that they added. Fishing system, like I've shown here, is literally one of the best implementations across any game whatsoever. Because you see, Guild Wars 2 runs entirely off of gold. It keeps the economy going and whatnot, right? But most people's gold will be sitting in their banks in material storage rather than actually in hard gold. Which is why most people wind up quitting poor over and over and over and over and over again. Which is an issue I've addressed on the channel a couple of times, and probably happened to you the last time you attempted Guild Wars 2. So if you're watching this video and you've played before, and you're just curious, should I get back into it? There's probably been a lot of things you've been told that kept you from enjoying Guild Wars 2, and that's an unfortunate result of the narrative that's surrounded the game. Which is something I'm trying to tackle slowly but surely. Because the way Guild Wars 2 can be played, but isn't generally conveyed, is that it is quite literally all up to you. Whatever I tell you to do, you don't have to do it. Whatever other content creators tell you to do, you don't have to do that either. You can literally spend your entire day fishing, like I am right now, and you can make a gold profit towards whatever it is you want to aim for. Guild Wars 2 is the kind of game where you can see something and go, I want that. Any individual piece of what my character is wearing right now, you can go, oh, that's cool, I wonder how he got that, and go on an entire journey to go about getting it. Like, for example, my shoulder piece that I got recently, that I'm wearing right now, was an entire journey around the current Festival of the Four Winds. So I went in here, I went and I did a bunch of the achievements. I didn't finish the thing because I couldn't be bothered to go and collect all the little nodes for it. And then I unlocked the shoulder piece that I'd wanted for a couple of months. So that was pretty fun. The chess piece was in the gem store, which you can do the currency conversion here to turn your gold into gems. So quite literally, what I'm fishing right now will generate me gold, which I can turn into gems to then buy any of the quote-unquote microtransactions, right? And yes, of course, it's not fast. You know, Taco Bell is, of course, faster to get you the fancy stuff you want. But the fact that Guild Wars 2 doesn't have a subscription in the first place means you could literally just sit here and chill and fish after work, or, you know, in between whatever else it is you're doing, and just slowly build towards things. And on top of that, if you want any of the fancy legendary weapons in Guild Wars 2, there is more than one process to go about getting them. So I went and I built the legendary wings, and then Incinerator and Bifrost. I went through and I did the whole process. Incinerator, I did the whole thing from the start. I built every single piece of it, and God, it was a pain in my absolute ass. But Bifrost, I skipped certain parts of it because there was tools that I had available at the time. But if I wanted to, I could literally sit here and fish, make as much gold as possible, and then just buy the thing out of the trading post. And I'm half considering doing that. And in a way, that's its own journey, right? Because you can go through the entire process of what you're supposed to do to craft a legendary in Guild Wars 2. But you see, I want to make a Orion's Insight in here. We go through, there's this really cool staff down here. Orion's Insight, this one. This is what I want to try and get, because this will work across pretty much every class. Fun fact, the only class that can't use staves, I'm pretty sure is Engineer, unironically. I think every other class can use a staff. But, yeah, this one's really cool, so I want to try and go for it, because it also has permutations where you can turn it into a fire staff, water staff, air staff, you know, all these sorts of cool things. But this is going to run me 2100 gold. So, I can either go about crafting it manually, which will save me 800 gold, sure, but then I have to go and 100% some certain maps and do all these other things, and you can do that if you want to, or you can sit here and fish for 2100 gold and then buy the thing straight outright. And the best part? Nobody'll know. You can swipe for gems and backwards convert the gems into gold and buy it that way, and no one will know, and nobody will care, because it's your journey. Guild Wars 2, you can literally do a legendary journey at Taco Bell if you wanted to. Oh my god. I mean, it's a little bit dumb, but you know, you could, and that's the crazy part, is that Guild Wars 2 is the game of you could. Which, where most other games literally put you on rails, don't respect your time, and say, okay, you're gonna do this, and then you're gonna do this, and then you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do this. No. No, what if I don't want to? And Guild Wars 2 is the perfect game for people who don't like authority, don't like being told what to do, and actually flourish in open-ended systems. Because, I mean, some people prefer structure, for sure. But that's not saying you can't create structure in Guild Wars 2 as well. I have a note on my side monitor that shows me everything that I could do from the start of my day all the way to the end of my day. It documents the exact times. So, for example, I'll read it off to you. Tequatl, 5 p.m. Something, 5 to 6 p.m., generally fishing. Auric Basin, 6 p.m. Dragonstorm, 6:10 p.m. Convergence, 6:30 p.m. Casino Blitz, 7 p.m. Fractals, 7 to 9 p.m. Triple Trouble, 9 p.m. I can go all the way down and have structure and have a planned thing to do. And I can chain repeat that over and over and over and over again until I get burned out with Guild Wars 2. And then don't want to play the game anymore. And you see, that's what most people wind up doing. That's what people who have previously played probably wound up doing. They wound up chain repeating things like that routine over and over and over and over again, and then dumping all of their materials into their material storage and never actually selling anything, so they never made any gold towards what they wanted. They never worked towards the legendaries they wanted. They couldn't see progress in their bags, going fish by fish by fish like I'm doing right now, because they just hit the autopilot button of deposit all materials. So if you quit Guild Wars 2, you might have quitted a millionaire, and you would never know. There are tools that I've documented on the channel that can explain to you how to check your accounts, but I just got a legendary fish, Just while we were talking, just right there. So, let me show you the system, for example. So in this case, we double-click our legendary fish. We get 2 flawless fish fillets and a chunk of ambergris. Now, this is used in crafting that very same staff that I showed you, the Orine's Insight. So I am just a small cog in a machine right now, because there is some guy out there who's going to buy this on the opposing side of my little fishing journey right here, and he's made a little buy order for 1 gold and 97 silver. So, this is listed by someone who's trying to get a bit of a better deal going through crafting their own version. So they're trying to do the more optimal rendition of buying all of it and then crafting it manually and then saving 600, 800 gold by doing the whole process. But you see, they're playing an entirely different game to me in this exact moment. The Guild Wars 2 that they're playing is an entirely different Guild Wars 2 to the one that I'm playing. I am a part of their process, for sure, but, I mean, you know, they don't know me, right? It's an incognito system, right? You just sell, he picks it up, and you go from there. So we click sell instantly, and then we get our gold. They get their item towards their goal, whatever that is. Maybe they could be using it towards an End of Dragons legendary. Maybe they could be using it towards God knows what. It could be fishing, crafting, or anything under the sun. I don't particularly know. But, like I said, they could be literally going through the entire process to craft a legendary. And to do that, you then would have to go to Cantha down here. This is one of the other areas in one of the other expansions. And you have to 100% complete all of these maps. And then you get a gift, and you put the gift into the forge, and then you go and fish your materials, or you buy your materials, you combine it all with the it's too much work for me. So I fish, and I sell the materials to the people who feel like doing the hard labor. And then at the end of the day, I still get my gold reward. And slowly, fish by fish, I work towards the exact same goddamn goal as them. And I get to sit here, fish, talk to you, and watch just about whatever I want on my side monitor. Does this have to be your Guild Wars 2 experience? No. You can be the guy running around on all those maps that I just sold the ambergris to. You could join me on the fishing boat if you'd like, because we would then get bonus fishing power for fishing as a team. You can go and do literally anything else. Because in Guild Wars 2, you can make gold in just about any way. You can do active things, you can do passive things. You can have people tell you something's passive and have it be a 95-step process. There's a lot of different Guild Wars 2 content, which is a running problem and wonderful thing all at the exact same time. It does take a little bit of sorting through, unfortunately. But when you find a little nugget of wisdom, sometimes it can give you infinite value. Because, as I said, Guild Wars 2 is a game that doesn't particularly change all that often. For example, the system that I just showed you of selling the ambergris has been the exact same since End of Dragons, and the price has been roughly the same because it's relatively hard locked on how you go about building the legendaries. So, there will be gold for fishing so long as the game is running, which is just spectacular for me across the board, because I can just sit here and hang out. However, there's also other things that I can go about doing. So, in this case, if I wanted to take said fish and craft it up to make even more gold, so you saw before, I got flawless fish fillets right here. These are the ascended fish. There's multiple different tiers of fish and all that, right? I'm not going to go into too much of it here. I'll keep it relatively brief. I'll just show you some of the things you can do. So let me open up the fish real fast, and I'll get a bunch of different tiers of fish here. Oh, I actually hit more ascended fish. Love that. So, in this case, what you would do is you go through and you sell this fish. Because these ones are, for whatever reason, more expensive than the rest. There's an argument in my comment section actively over why that is. But then there's a couple of other sets of fish in here as well. So, if we take, for example, the flawless fish, and we use one of my strategies that I've had for a little while, and hop over to my chef character. Yes, I am this dedicated to fishing. But you don't have to be. This is what I mean. You can be a blacksmith. If you want, you can make some profit there. I don't know the methods, but I'm sure you can. You can flip the trading post. You can farm the events. You can map complete. You can do whatever it is you like. It is entirely up to you. Then we come over here on my little chef character over to the master chef. Gordon would be proud. Walk over to the cooking station, and then from here we scroll down, and with a couple other materials that I have, we make ourselves... Did I not put them in storage? I didn't hit my put in storage key. I am so good at this game. Absolutely incredible. Hold on. Minor technical difficulties. Right click, deposit material. Nobody saw a thing. Professional, by the way. Oh my god. Professional, by the way. Oh well. Adds personality. We come back to our fisher. Our chef, rather. We take said fish. And we go, and we scale it up. So we take the flawless fish fillets here. We take a little bit of seaweed, which you can buy on the trading post at 2 copper a piece, or 2 silver a piece. So let's do the math here together, shall we? 2 silver a piece for 1 seaweed. The fish themselves sell at 17 or at 18. Okay, so that's 20 silver invested. And then rice balls and vinegar. Rice balls you can also buy on the trading post, or you can get them from the guy right here. He sells the materials you would need in here. They're in between these areas. Rice in bulk, I'm pretty sure that's the one you buy. But you go in, you buy those, and then you go through, and you craft all. Of course, I've leveled a full chef for this. And then we go and we take our redfish sushi, and we make a hefty profit when we list it. We make ourselves a nice little 8 silver profit, which then we lose some in the exchange fee because, you know, the trading post is a special individual. But overall, we make ourselves a tidy little profit that scales up with how many fish we wind up pulling out in that particular interval. That was just a small little fishing session. So that's what I do for fun in Guild Wars 2. Now you can also go about doing a whole plethora of other game modes. You can PvP, you can World vs. World, you can do fractals, you can do raids, you can do high-end PvE content such as challenge modes in both fractals and raids. You can do all of the above all the same day, all at the same time. Because there is absolutely, well, I was going to say no lockout, but there's very minimal lockouts. Raids, I believe, are weekly, strikes are weekly, and then fractals don't have a lockout, but most of the rewards are daily front-loaded, so you're going to be doing 1 set per day and going from there. There's content on the channel detailing pretty much everything except raids and strikes, because I want to wait until they do a little bit of a renovation going into the next expansion, and then I'll probably detail them from there. But yeah, is Guild Wars 2 worth playing in 2025? I think Guild Wars 2 is worth adding to your roster full stop, because Guild Wars 2 is the perfect game for whatever you want to do. And the thing is you get to decide what that is. Guild Wars 2 is kind of like Subway, except not having such a bad reputation anymore. I more mean it in the fact of if you make a bad sandwich, you are the guy who told them what to put on the fucking sandwich. Guild Wars 2 is kind of the exact same ordeal. If you burn out on Guild Wars 2 and you don't like Guild Wars 2, that means you don't like what you did in a sandbox game where you can do anything. Kind of a bit of a self-report, no?